Bryson to please convene the Committee on Campus Planning, Buildings, and Grounds.
Thank you, Chair Day. And the Committee on Campus Planning, Buildings, and Grounds is called to order. While I'm thanking you, Chair Day, let me thank you especially for your 2 years of extraordinary leadership of this board. You have a very proud and grateful board. I just wanted to mention that. Before I turn to our consent agenda, I also wanted to tell the board about an event that occurred after our last board meeting, a very positive event. You will remember that our committee had a report on our sustainability efforts at our last committee meeting. And it was scheduled that there would be the 15th annual sustainability conference just a few days after our board meeting. That is a student-led sustainability conference. It's a very big event, and it was supposed to occur up at Chico State, which was hosting the event. But of course, the virus intervened. But what was really remarkable was the organizers' response to that. Instead of canceling the conference or delaying it in any way, they decided to transform it into a virtual conference, which they did in the span of just a few weeks. It was truly remarkable. It was seamless, it was incredibly substantive, and it was, as it turns out, even more sustainable than the conference that had originally been planned. It was prophetic, I think, that the title of that conference was Resiliency in a Changing World. And our students and the organizers and the participants demonstrated that resiliency in a very changed world in an incredible way. And I just wanted to bring that to the attention to the entire board so that you're aware of it. It was a real demonstration that the CSU will lead during this crisis. So turning to our agenda then, it's time for the committee to consider the consent agenda, which consists solely of the minutes of our last meeting. Is there any objection to the approval of the consent agenda? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. The committee has one item on today's discussion agenda. Item 2 is an action item requesting approval of the Cal Poly State University San Luis Obispo Master Plan Revision and Enrollment Ceiling Increase. The item will be presented by Steve Relier, our Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Financial Officer, Jeff Armstrong, the President of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and Vi San Juan, Assistant Vice Chancellor for Capital Planning, Design, and Construction. Steve, can you begin?
Thank you, Chair Eisen. This item requests approval of the Cal Poly San Luis Obispo Campus Master Plan Revision and certification of the final environmental impact report. The last master plan revision for the campus occurred in 2017. The proposed master plan revision is consistent with the CSU mission as broad-based support from the local community and will serve as a roadmap for the university's future. President Armstrong will now share his plan and how it will advance the campus mission and commitment to create a more residential, diverse, and inclusive community. President Armstrong.
Thank you, Steve, and good morning, members of the board. I should say good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to present our campus master plan. Before I begin, let me digress for a moment. First, I know I can speak for all presidents and many on the line and say thank you, Chair Day, for your leadership. We're also very preoccupied and influenced by this generational crisis, COVID-19. This pandemic has clearly heightened the awareness that the economic vitality of our cities, counties, and campuses are inextricably linked. As such, today I'd like to share our updated version of our master plan that responds to academic program needs and allows Cal Poly to grow over time and thus help the CSU to drive California's economy in a post-COVID-19 world. The plan represents the physical manifestation of the priorities we have established as a university. The plan is informed and driven by our Campus Vision 2022. Our primary focus is student success. In line with the CSU Graduation Initiative 2025, we are working to improve student retention and graduation rates and eliminate opportunity gaps to better serve the needs of our state. This master plan revision will help student success in several ways. We want to provide for a diverse campus community. We know that students that live on campus do better, especially low-income and otherwise disadvantaged students. It's our responsibility to ensure opportunities for Californians of all backgrounds and to help build a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workforce. We have a 93% job placement rate within 6 months of graduation and are always looking for ways to improve, especially as we seek to better serve underrepresented students. We recently finished a year-long process of examining our campus climate and have launched programs to better address the needs of underserved students, faculty, and staff. We're also expanding our already successful Cal Poly Scholars Program, which provides support to mostly low-income and first-generation California students. As a state university, we exist to serve the highly talented young people across the whole state. Everyone learns more and better when they learn on a campus that reflects the diversity of this state and when the campus feels like home to everyone. Second, as demand grows for our university, we must grow our campus responsibly in a manner that doesn't impose an undue burden on our local community. That's why we must transform into a more inclusive, more residential campus. We've already seen great success in requiring first and select second-year students to live on campus, which improves student success. The master plan houses all student population growth on campus, which will make more regional housing available. We're located in San Luis Obispo, which is a small rural community, and we have an important obligation to be good citizens and good neighbors. Third, planning for the future. The solution will also include new facilities and better use of campus resources, such as classrooms, labs, and support spaces. These new developments will enable us to provide more of the high-impact learning opportunities that make our graduates so highly valued in the workplace. Last, the master plan goals help shape Cal Poly's future within the academic setting, the community, and the environment. Early in the process, Cal Poly's leadership developed the following goals to guide the master plan. Conceptualize the land use, circulation, and physical development of the campus to accommodate a future student enrollment of 22,500 full-time equivalent students. Enhance academic quality and student success through Learn by Doing. Increase the diversity of students, faculty, and staff. Strengthen the campus's compact cross-disciplinary academic core. House more students in residential communities on campus. Offer more vibrant evening and weekend events and activities on campus. Attain a modal shift from cars to more pedestrian, bicycle, and transit use. Reinforce campus-wide environmental sustainability and generate revenues from public and private sources to realize the above goals. These are just a few of the important factors driving our new campus master plan. The plan has been multiple years in the making with significant changes along the way as a result of input from students, faculty, staff, alumni, and community members. For example, open agricultural acreage originally slated for development were removed from the plan, with the resultant impact being a preservation of agricultural land and open spaces. I invite you to visit our campus master plan website to view a short video on some of the elements of our proposed revision and to highlight why this plan is so important. Assistant Vice Chancellor Vi San Juan will now go over additional details of the master plan revision. So now back to you, Vi.
Thank you, President Armstrong. The university occupies about 6,400 acres in San Luis Obispo County. These lands provide hands-on opportunities for students to apply their classroom knowledge in real-life situations. The approximately 1,300-acre campus adjacent to the city of San Luis Obispo includes most of the university's academic, administrative, and support facilities. This proposed master plan map shows existing and proposed footprints for campus development through the planning horizon of 2035. The master plan anticipates development of approximately 1.3 million gross square feet of new academic, administrative, and support buildings, an additional 455,000 6,000 gross square feet of replacement space within the academic core. This is the first of 2 slides that illustrate the proposed master plan. This slide highlights proposed changes related to the academic program and support facilities. Future academic buildings are shown in peach, primarily in the central area. Recreation and athletic facilities are shown in red to the south, and operations and parking facilities in blue to the west, and to the far west, to the north of the slide in pink is research and development facilities on the far west of campus. This is the same map, colored slightly differently to highlight other changes. Moving from north to south, student housing is shown in green. This is a significant component of the master plan, increasing student housing as the campus grows. Student centers and activity space in dark purple, student health and well-being in light purple, dining commons, for example. And last in brown to the far right side of the slide is future faculty staff housing. Next slide. An environmental impact report has been prepared to analyze the potential significant environmental impacts of the proposed master plan in accordance with CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act. This EIR is a program EIR under CEQA with near-term impacts projects evaluated in detail. The environmental impact report has determined there are 5 environmental topics for which there will be significant and unavoidable impacts for the board's consideration. These include short-term construction impacts and potential long-term operational or otherwise permanent impacts. They include, as listed, air quality, noise, aesthetics, agricultural resources, and historical resources. With that, I'll turn it back to Steve.
Thank you, Vi and President Armstrong. This master plan will be instrumental in helping to make the campus a more diverse and inclusive academic environment and a campus that leverages the value of the existing land to bring resources and facilities to serve its students. It has been responsibly planned and created with input from various stakeholders, takes reasonable steps to mitigate environmental impacts, and will benefit students and the region for many decades to come. We recommend approval of the proposed resolution. And Trustee Eisen, that concludes our presentation, and we're available to address any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Thanks to all 3 of you. I imagine there will be some comments and questions, but I have one to begin with. I've read all of the submissions regarding this proposed master plan, and they are largely, almost entirely supportive. However, there have been some comments made in opposition, suggesting that given this crisis that we're in and how different the world may be down the road, are we acting too soon in proposing this master plan? Are we locking ourselves in to something that we can't get out of if it turns out that things are very different than they were when this plan was created? And I would love it if one of you would address that, and I'm sure there'll be other questions.
I'm happy to start. I believe this master plan really delaying it would lock us out and remove flexibility for us to be innovative and creative in the future. We have been looking and talking about, separate of the master plan, how we can make better use of our facilities year round. So I believe we have the plans in place. This is undergirded by the strategic plan, Vision 2022. We also have greater support for our low-income, economically disadvantaged California residents so that they can afford to live on campus, as our housing on campus is very reasonable if you look at the data. So I believe this really provides the flexibility for us to grow and provide the engineers, the architects, agriculturalists, and all of our majors across being a comprehensive polytechnic university that will allow and it will be the platform of innovation for whatever this new abnormal will be, because we know we will be needing all of these talented young people who come there to learn how to learn. And I think we can increase graduation rates and eliminate opportunity gaps and really move forward. And the master plan is essential to do so. But that's a great question, and thanks for asking.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there other questions and comments regarding this action item? I'm looking for hands. Let's start with Peter Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and President Armstrong, congratulations. This is a terrific step forward for SLO. You know, the world's changed a lot in the last 8 weeks, and a lot has been reported about people who are now out of work, who are going to need to be reskilled or upskilled. Is there room in the plan for an enhanced role for university extension so that SLO can play a role in terms of people who've lost their jobs and now can't afford to go back and get a full-blown 4-year degree, but need some help to make themselves more competitive in the job market?
Yes, Trustee Taylor, we are already down that pathway long before COVID. We have extended ed programs or PACE like many of our colleagues. We have been pushing forward with upskilling and reskilling, talking with many engineering firms, and we are in the process of developing courses for upskilling and reskilling. Many of the demands are not aligned where they want a graduate or an undergraduate degree. They want the high-level material unbundled, whether it's cybersecurity or agile computing, whatever it may be, and they want it delivered, and they want it delivered online because you take a company like Northrop Grumman, there are thousands of employees just across California, 80,000 employees across the country, and they need that upskilling and reskilling. So this plan will really facilitate that. And in fact, the silver lining, if we might use that phrase, which is probably not the best to use with COVID-19, the enhanced use of online, we see that, and virtual, as the Chancellor said, we'll see that is enhancing learn by doing, enhancing in-person education in the future. So the upskilling, reskilling is a very, very big demand, and it's important. I think our universities need to be doing that. I think we want our alumni connected to us for upskilling and reskilling, because if we don't do it, others are going to do it, and then that plays right into philanthropy and development and connection. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at our alumni affairs and career services. We're also doing this for Diablo. We will be working with them as many employees are going to be displaced, and we have a formal agreement with that we're working on with Diablo PG&E.
That's terrific. Thank you very much, President Armstrong. Glad to hear it.
Thank you. Governor Kounalakis.
Just one quick question about this. I know it takes years to make plans like this, but is there anything here that obligates us or the university in terms of any kind of financial obligation? So again, I understand it's a planning document, but in approving the planning document, does it obligate any kind of funds or timeline for construction?
I'll let Executive Vice Chancellor Relyea comment, but my answer is no. We have projects that we have waiting in the wings, but they will have to come for the board, and they will have to be discussed from the financial and normal perspective. And so this is really a programmatic EIR. So we're positioned to move forward with flexibility. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just add that President Armstrong's exactly correct, Governor, that what the master plan does is it sets a context and then, of course, a set of approvals for future projects. But those projects will come before the board and will be, put forth on their own merits.
Trustee Sebelius.
What was not mentioned in the report is that the master plan also proposes a university-based retirement community of approximately 200 senior living units on a parcel owned by Cal Poly. I want to point this out as a wonderful example of a cooperation of a campus with the community. And I think it's a very innovative idea that other campuses, if possible, should emulate. It offers good opportunities for partnering our senior citizens with our students. For instance, our senior citizens living near campus could mentor students. It would eliminate, to a certain degree, or mitigate loneliness on part of the senior citizens. But believe it or not, despite campus life and despite young age, there's also loneliness among some students we have. And if we can pair senior citizens and students in a campus or near campus environment, that would be fabulous. It also would lend an opportunity, a possible opportunity for service learning. In that regard, I think it's great and of course obvious that priority occupancy should be reserved for retired Cal Poly family and alumni and staff. But I want to make a plea to maybe have a 3-tier priority system, that you reserve units for Cal Poly affiliated faculty and staff, of course, but maybe a 2nd tier for other CSU affiliated personnel who would like to live there, and maybe then only 3rd the public. As you can see, I'm planning my retirement days already. But in general, I just want to say, joking aside, I want to compliment this innovative program of combining young people with our senior citizens for the better of both of them.
Well, thank you, Trustee Sebelius. We will certainly, my folks are listening, and we will look at that prioritization. You really did a good job of characterizing the importance and how the interaction could occur with the students. I would just simply add that you could add the musical, visual arts, and they can learn how to make wine and cheese. But I'd also say that with regard to the governor's comment, this may be one that may be a little slower, because one wouldn't see this happening until we're after a vaccine, because we would not be able to have the mingling now. But this will take several years to move forward. And it's an example of flexibility. We would move forward with this if it worked out and made sense. But our community, like many others, has a significant need for senior living all the way through the stages. And we also have the same type of childcare and other issues. So thank you, Trustee.
Thank you. And depending on how many birds you've got down there, I want you to put me on the list too. Trustee Carney.
Thank you. I want to add my congratulations on this really inspired plan and the obvious extensive outreach that was done. The level of support from the business and the local community is really remarkable. I'm wondering, President Armstrong, if you could talk a little bit more about sustainability features. The report talks about the water reclamation facility and some enhanced recycling and composting, but I'm wondering if there are other sustainability features that you could tell us about.
Well, the water aspect is certainly a very important one, and we have a great relationship with the city of San Luis Obispo, as you heard from City Manager Derek Johnson. They're in the process of building a really advanced waste reclamation project as well, which we can also buy water from them, as well as our waste reclamation process. We also see that as we look at many of our colleagues, we're involved in ASHE STARS. That's the system that measures sustainability in universities. And of course, sustainable energy, in addition to water, is very important. Our new resident facility that was opened up a couple of years ago added solar power. We have about a 5 megawatt solar power facility, and then we are certainly blessed with acreage, and we can add additional renewable energy. We're also looking at being close to the coast. What are the other opportunities? And we have our eye on what will happen with the Diablo facility when it closes, as there's desalinization water process there. But that is so far along and nothing that is included in our plan. But the main thing is thinking about water and thinking about energy, and then of course transportation. The traffic flow, switching more of a modal to pedestrian is part of what we're looking at. We also currently have a policy that students, freshmen, are required to live on campus. They get a local exemption, and they're not allowed to have a car. And we'll extend that to sophomores. We have great use of Zip cars, and of course, in the pre-COVID environment, we had Lyft ride, Uber rides. And so we will continue to push in those directions with a lot of sustainability. And then, of course, our engineering, agriculture, all our programs are integrated, and all the programs across our comprehensive polytechnic, 6 colleges, all our programs have elements of sustainability. So food in the residence halls, food through our corporation and dining, there's just tremendous amount. But I'll stop there because I could keep going, and I'm sure the chair wants the time to move along. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Trustee Adamson.
Thank you. I had a chance at the end of this last year to spend almost a half a day with President Armstrong and his planning team and have an advanced view of this plan. I will tell you that I think this plan is incredibly comprehensive, as you just saw. Some of the comments we received about the inability or a lack of involvement is just absolutely absurd to me. When I was there, President Armstrong presented this to a major community gathering that I got to witness and receive feedback from all of those community leaders. Students were engaged and involved in this process. I want to compliment him and all of his staff on what I consider to be one of the most creative and comprehensive master plan programmatic documents that I've seen. And congratulations to you, and you have my full support. And I hope that we ultimately are able to implement all of its elements.
Thank you, Trustee, and certainly want to give credit to our team as well as Vice San Juan and everyone in the Chancellor's office. They've also been great to work with, including the Office of General Counsel. So thank you.
All right. I don't see any more hands, and I don't have all of your, if anybody's waving their hand, I can't see it. I think that's all of the comments. Now, this is an action item before this committee. Only committee members can vote. Do I have a motion to approve this master plan?
So moved.
Second? Any additional discussion? All right, Ms. Kiss, can you please take a roll call vote?
Thank you, Chair Eisen. Okay, Trustee Adamson.
You'll need to unmute if you're on this committee to vote.
I'll give you a second all to please unmute for the roll call vote. Trustee Adamson.
I've sent the request to unmute. No, I don't think
Okay, Trustee Carney.
Oh, hold on a second. There we go. All right, go.
Okay, we'll try this again. I just want to remind everyone to unmute.
We're ready.
Trustee Adamson.
Yes.
Trustee Carney.
Yes.
Trustee Eisen.
Yes.
Trustee Fong.
Yes.
Trustee Kames.
Yes.
Trustee Krinsk.
Yes.
Trustee McGrory.
Here.
Trustee Sebelius.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trustee McGrory, you are yay or nay for the vote?
Yay.
Thank you. Trustee Sebelius.
Yes, again.
Trustee Taylor.
Aye.
Chair Day.
Aye.
Chancellor White.
Yes, unmuted. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Chair Eisen, the motion passes.
Thank you, Ms. Kiss. The item is approved, and that concludes the business of the Committee on Campus Planning and Grounds. Thank you, Chair Day.
Thank you, Chair Eisen.